The psychology of the ignored child. Step 1. Introduction. The child no one notices. Imagine a house full of people. Parents are busy. Siblings are loud. Life is moving quickly. But in one quiet corner sits a child. This child is not abused. This child is not shouted at. This child is simply ignored. No one asks how their day was. No one listens when they speak. No one notices when they feel sad. And over time, the most painful message enters their mind. Maybe I don't matter. The psychology of the ignored child is not loud or dramatic. It is silent. And because it is silent, it is often misunderstood. Step 2. Emotional neglect versus physical abuse. People often believe trauma only comes from violence or harsh treatment. But psychology shows that emotional neglect can be just as damaging. An ignored child experiences lack of attention, lack of emotional validation, lack of affection, lack of guidance. The child grows up in an emotional desert. They are not hurt with words. They are hurt with silence. And silence teaches the brain something dangerous. My feelings are not important. Step 3. The invisible child syndrome. Many ignored children develop what psychologists call the invisible child identity. They start believing, my needs are too much. My feelings are annoying. I should not disturb others. It's better if I stay quiet. So the child adapts. They become quiet. They become independent. They stop asking for help. But this independence is not strength. It is survival. Step 4. How ignored children learn to self-parent. When parents are emotionally unavailable, children do something remarkable. They become their own parents. They learn to comfort themselves, solve their own problems, hide their pain, depend only on themselves. At first, this seems mature. But inside, the child is still longing for one simple thing: someone to care. Step 5. The deep loneliness of an ignored child. Ignored children often experience a unique kind of loneliness. Not the loneliness of being physically alone, but the loneliness of being unseen. They may live in a full house, yet still feel like a stranger in their own home. And that feeling slowly builds a deep emotional belief. I am alone in this world. Step 6. Why ignored children become overthinkers. Many ignored children grow into deep overthinkers. Because when no one explains emotions to them, they start analyzing everything. They constantly ask themselves, did I say something wrong? Why don't people notice me? Am I boring? Am I not good enough? Their mind becomes their only companion. So they think, and think, and think. Step 7. The silent personality. Ignored children often develop quiet personalities. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they learn that speaking changes nothing. They stop expressing emotions. They stop asking for attention. They become observers of life instead of participants. Step 8. The low-maintenance trap. Many adults praise quiet children. They say things like, this child is so easy. They never cause trouble. They are very mature. But sometimes this maturity is actually emotional neglect. The child learned that having needs brings disappointment. So they simply stopped having them. Step 9. Emotional suppression. Ignored children learn to hide emotions very early. They suppress sadness, anger, jealousy, fear, because no one taught them how to express those feelings safely. Eventually, they become emotionally numb, not because they feel nothing, but because they feel too much. Step 10. The desire to be noticed. Even the quietest ignored child secretly wishes for attention. They dream about someone saying, I see you. I understand you. You matter. This desire sometimes appears in unexpected ways. Creativity, writing, music, a deep thinking. These become their way of being heard. Step 11. Ignored children often become highly observant. When children feel invisible, they start observing others carefully. They notice tone of voice, body language, emotional shifts. This develops strong emotional intelligence. They become excellent at reading people, but sometimes they struggle to express their own emotions. Step 12. Trust issues in adulthood. Ignored children often grow into adults who struggle with trust. Why? Because their earliest emotional experiences taught them, people will not show up for me. So they keep emotional distance, even when someone loves them. Step 13. Fear of being a burden. One of the deepest fears ignored children carry is, I don't want to be a burden. They avoid asking for help. They apologize too much. They try to solve every problem alone. Not because they want to, but because they believe no one will help anyway. Step 14. Hyperindependence. Many ignored children grow into extremely independent adults. They rely on themselves for everything. Financially, emotionally, mentally. But hyperindependence is often a trauma response. It is the brain saying, if I depend on no one can disappoint me. Step 15. The difficulty receiving love. Ironically, ignored children sometimes struggle to accept love later in life. When someone cares about them, their mind becomes suspicious. They wonder, why are they being nice? What do they want from me? Will they leave too? Because love feels unfamiliar. Step 16. Why ignored children often become empaths. Because they grew up unnoticed, they become extremely sensitive to others. They don't want anyone else to feel invisible. So they become good listeners, emotionally supportive, deeply compassionate, but they often forget to care for themselves. Step 17. The risk of toxic relationships. Ignored children sometimes attract unhealthy relationships. Because attention, even negative attention, can feel better than none. They may tolerate emotional manipulation, neglect, disrespect, simply because it feels familiar. Step 18. Healing the ignored child within. Healing begins with awareness. Adults who were ignored as children must learn something new. Their feelings matter. Their voice matters. Their needs matter. Healing often involves self-reflection, therapy, supportive relationships, emotional education. Step 19. Learning self-compassion. Ignored children often grow up being very harsh on themselves. Healing means learning to say, I deserved attention. I deserved care. I deserve to be heard. Self-compassion slowly rebuilds emotional safety. Step 20. Conclusion. The child who was never seen. Some children grow up surrounded by noise. Others grow up surrounded by silence. The ignored child learns to survive without attention. They become quiet thinkers, deep observers, independent souls. But behind that strength is a simple truth. Every child deserves to be seen, heard, and valued. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for someone is very simple. Notice them. Because the ignored child is not asking for the world. They are only asking for one thing: to matter.